I'll tell you why. I can't believe it. I didn't realise it was such a sensitive spot, but last week we had George Best on the show, right? And we had him outside waving flags for us, which I thought was a fair deal. So many people stopped me in the street, pinned me up against the wall and said, don't you dare have George Best doing such a trivial thing. If you have George Best on your show, you've got to talk to him. You've got to pay him respect. Well, I want you to know that if we did have George Best on the show, I would do something really special for him. Oh, George!
All right, Chris.
Very well, come in. Please. George, when you were at school, was there anybody who was better than you at football in your class?
The teacher.
He was actually better than you?
That was a woman. No, when I was playing, I was always the best at school and at the youth club.
There was never anybody better than you?
No. The only problem I had when I was a kid, I was that small and skinny. I mean, I never dreamt that it was going to go any further. I figured that was the end of my playing days was when I left school, but it didn't work out that way.
When did it go further then? When did it start to go further?
Well, as I said, the problem was that my size, because a couple of Irish League scouts had come to watch me, and a scout from Leeds United had come to watch me. I think stayed 20 minutes. I only found out recently, my dad told me that he stayed for 20 minutes because they all thought I was too small. And what happened, the Manchester United scout at the time, to find out if I could handle it against bigger opposition and taller and stronger lads, he organised a game when I was 15 against some 18-year-olds at another youth club. And I played against him and scored a couple, and that was when he contacted Manchester United. And of course, I went there full-time training and a pint of Guinness every day, so it was, the old muscles came, and not too many, but my legs developed more than anything. So I think that's what probably started me drinking. It's Manchester United's fault, nothing to do with me.
At the age of 15?
At the age of 15, yeah.
Would it be right to say that if Tommy Docherty hadn't have become the boss of Manchester United when he did, that you would still have carried on playing there?
Yeah, I think the problem was before Tommy Docherty to start with. You know, I'd been so used to playing under a great man in Sir Matt Busby, who played football the way it should be played. I mean, he loved the game, and we played with 5 forwards. And we didn't talk about systems and numbers. I mean, we played 2 fullbacks, 3 halfbacks, and 5 forwards, and played with 2 wingers, which was brilliant. And then the game started to change as well. And you know, '68 we won the European Cup, the first English side to do it. And within 4 years, Manchester United, Bobby Charlton was getting towards the end of his playing days. Dennis was on his way. Paddy Curran was getting towards the end. Bill Foulkes was the same. And in a short space of time, the team had sort of disintegrated, and Sir Matt had moved upstairs, and they had 5 or 6 managers. It was like a revolving door for a while, and the final one was Tommy Docherty, and it was when he was in charge, and I just didn't get on with him, and it might have been different if he hadn't been there, but I was a little bit disillusioned with the game at the time, and Tommy Docherty as well. If
Docherty hadn't been manager then, you probably would have stayed for 3, 4 years, 5 years?
Well, I was 26 at the time, so I mean, if I kept myself fit, I could have played for another 10 years. I mean,
for United?
For United, yeah. The problem was I didn't want to play for anybody else.
When Matt Busby moved upstairs, as you say, there have been connections with him moving upstairs and you going to the bar. I mean, it's almost simultaneous, wasn't it? Matt's gone, I'm going to start having a booze now. Would that be right?
Not really. I think that was going to happen, whatever the personnel changes.
You were always going to the bar?
I was always going. Yeah, whether Sir Matt was there or not, it didn't matter. Yeah.
When back in 1963, 64, when you were described as the 5th Beatle, as you were in many a paper headline, did you realise how famous you were?
No, it came so quickly. That was the amazing thing. The Beatle thing really started to hit the headlines when we played one year at Benfica and absolutely demolished them. And they'd never lost in Europe at home. And we went there with a slender lead. We beat them 5-1. And every newspaper the following day had El Beetle. That was the headlines, and that was the start of it. And from there, it just, I mean, it became. I mean, I loved reading my name in the papers from a football point of view,
Right.
because that's what I loved, and that's what I was getting paid well for, and I loved it. I mean, I couldn't wait to get on a field because I knew what I could do, and I used to plan things and dream about it. I mean, I lived totally for the game, but then the off the field activities and coverage and media hype overcame, and they didn't want to talk about the football anymore, and that's when it became a nightmare. I mean, it was poor old Gazzers having the same these days. And it is a nightmare, and for someone who hasn't been through it, you just can't explain. I mean, you've had it yourself. I mean, you know what they're like. As soon as we've got a terrible thing in this country of putting people on a pedestal, and the first thing we want to do is knock them off it, which seems a very strange situation.
Out of the things you've done, what have you enjoyed most? Is it the sport? Is it the money? Is it the fame? Is it the girls, the cars, the holidays? What? Well,
that's. I mean, you've hit about 300 things there that I love, particularly the money, the girls, the cars. No, I've always said, and I said to you earlier, that the good things far outweigh the bad times. I mean, I look at myself today. I'm 50 years old. I feel like 20 years old. I'm married to a beautiful girl who's 24, who looks after me. And it's, I still travel. I've always said that if someone said to me, what do you want to do in life? And I've always said that I want to travel first class, always. I'm sitting up front and I'm having champagne, and the best champagne. I'm going to the best restaurants. And I always want to do that, travel first class.
As far as money's concerned, are you a millionaire nowadays?
No, I'm getting close again. I came back from America in '81. I was getting divorced. I left Callum, who was a year old then, in the States. His mum was there, my houses were there, my cars were there, my money was there. I left everything and I came back with almost nothing. I went bankrupt, I ended up in prison. I tried all sorts of treatments for alcohol, and I was struggling, and I've got back now, and it's pretty close these days. So.
How much do you think you've earned in your life?
Millions. I mean, when I was 17, I was taking home £1,000 a week in 1963. That's a lot of money today. In those days, it was a fortune. And getting paid fortunes for. I mean, I was doing commercials for everything. Anything you could think of, I did commercials for. From eggs to chewing gum to oranges. It was just phenomenal. It was rolling in left, right and centre. Unfortunately, as it was coming in, it was going out twice as fast. So it was.
The estimations are all over the place. Some people say you've spent 2 million quid. Some people say you've spent close to 10 million quid. Let's forget about how much you have spent. But out of all the money you've spent, how much have you wasted, would you say?
All of it. I mean, I made the same mistake as a lot of sportsmen do. I mean, I knew nothing about business, and I got involved with all sorts of businesses for fun. But when you're doing it for fun, you're losing money. I now do it as a proper business. I don't lose much money these days. It's all stuck away.
So, just let's briefly talk about the European Championships. As far as England and Scotland are concerned, tomorrow is the game. What do you think is going to happen there? On the field?
Yeah, on the well, it's who knows off the field. I've been invited to it. I don't know if it's a good idea. It might be advised to keep well clear of it. I mean, it's a massive game for both countries. More so, I think, for England, because the hosts and people are still talking about 1966. So they're under a tremendous amount of pressure all the way through. The bad publicity that they've been getting off the field is not going to help.
Give us a prediction for tomorrow's game, please. I know you hate this, but go on.
Yeah. Well, Scotland did well to get a draw against Holland. They were a little bit lucky. They were outplayed for large portions. And I think England have got to win. I think they might win 2-0.
Okay. A couple more questions before we finish. First one is, you've got a bet going at the moment, haven't you? Because you are a betting man, but this is a very special bet. Just take us through this bet one more time, please, George.
Well, I told the missus that on my 50th that I wasn't very happy with my shape and routine, so I was going to go on the wagon for a year, exactly. And God knows what it's going to be like after a year. I'll probably be 10 times as bad as I was before. So I've got 12 months to go without a drink, so I've only got 49 weeks left.
So you're all right for a week? You've been all right for a week. Is it 2 weeks?
3 weeks now.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
Not a drop?
Not a drop, no.
Pimm's there, would you? Lovely hot day, very cold.
Yeah, I'm gasping for it, yeah, but I can't. But that would be the most expensive drink in history. That, yeah, £1,000 that would cost.
Okay, and finally, if you could do it all again, you know, same old question. If you could do it all again, would you change a thing?
Nah. I've had plenty of downs, but more ups. I'm a very lucky man. I haven't played serious football for 25 years, and I'm still earning a good living and enjoying myself. Got a lot of friends, and things couldn't be better. I wouldn't change anything.
What about that last 4 or 5 years that you could have had at United? What about those?
Yeah, it would have been great. Yeah, but it wasn't to be. I was lucky. A lot of people don't get 11 years and win everything. I packed everything into 11 years and won everything, and they can't take it away. So that's always there.
But the 4 or 5 lost years never keep you awake at night?
Nah, nothing keeps me awake at night. Nothing, except the missus once in a while, but I don't mind that. Yeah.
George, you've got to go, haven't you?
Yeah.
But thanks very much.
Thanks, Chris.
You sure about that?
Yeah. Cheers.
Thanks, George.
Cheers.